everyone, and welcome to this oil painting time-lapse and chat of this painting entitled The Woodland Queen. I do hope you enjoy it and are having a wonderful week, and thank you so much for your amazing comments on my last video. You may be wondering why I'm uploading on Sunday again, and I actually think I might start uploading on Sunday as a permanent thing. However, that isn't the reason. This did actually take a little bit longer than I was expecting. I did away with the paint thinner that made everything more difficult last time. However, what happened was I was actually working on two paintings in rotation, and I kind of think that this one, which was less finished than the other one, was actually better than the other one. So I'm not sure entirely if I'm going to upload that one. It was taking a really long time, and I was finding it a little bit difficult to get the details sorted out. So this one took its place, usurped, and so this is the new painting that is here. This is the only one that's finished at the moment. In fact, it's not quite finished, but it's sorted there. I just thought I'd better get something up today. And also I wanted to make a point that I had a slight injury, or rather two slight injuries, what you call middle class injuries. I actually cut my finger on a piece of sourdough bread, I kid you not, first world problems. And also I ended up getting a chilblain on the same hand, and this is the hand that I use for painting, so it had actually become quite irritating to sort of paint all the time because the chilblain was like rubbing up and down the brush. And I actually don't ever Google your symptoms. I know you're not supposed to, but I thought, oh no, it's just a chilblain, it'll be fine. I'll just Google like how do you cure a chilblain really fast. Anyway, I was like looking at the information about chilblains, and it turns out that perhaps I have some kind of serious disease, or at least that's what it seemed to say. And so I was really scared, and so I didn't end up finding out what the cure was anyway. And it seems to have kind of gone now, so it went in like a couple of days, but it did kind of get a little bit irritating, and I felt like as I was painting more with that hand, like it was becoming worse, but I think that I was just worrying too much about it. So it's being like, oh, I have a chilblain, life is so hard. But anyway, so that kind of did slow up things a little bit. But the main kind of issue was just the other painting tended to be, well, I at least felt that it wasn't quite as good. It was just becoming really difficult to work on. And so I just loved this idea of this cat in kind of the forest, and I really wanted to express it in this painting, and I really just did it so roughly on an underpainting and just thought, well, nobody's gonna be interested in this, I always paint cats. But then I put it on Instagram, and I thought I seemed to get quite a good response. So by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. It's Gemma_Ramji_art. I will leave actually, in fact, it is in the description below, the link, and I will follow you back. And so one other thing is I noticed, this is so strange, but like I noticed in my last video when I was watching it back on YouTube that there was this massive stain behind me, like when I went like that, and I don't know whether you can really see it anymore, but it looked so like to me when I suddenly saw it, because I didn't actually realise it was there. The funny thing about filming with like really intense ring light is you basically see everything you didn't want to see on camera. And so it was quite funny because I thought, well, I imagined that people might perceive it is some, you know, wild painting session I had where I was like flinging the paint around and then it splashed all over the wall. But in actual fact, it was nothing as exciting as that. Sadly, as you can tell, my tale of, you know, small minor injuries, although I didn't get injured this time or the last time, but this was like an old thing that I remember. It must have been a few years ago. I was holding a cup of coffee, and I have a tendency to fill my coffee like really to almost to the top, because I drink mostly milk in my coffee. I once read that drinking milk, even as if you're an adult, is really good for you, and I don't like the taste of just milk in a glass. Like, it just doesn't appeal to me. So I thought the way that I can force myself to drink milk on a regular basis is to put it in my coffee. So I'll put like, you know, a small amount of coffee and water, and the rest of it will be milk. And so this story is leading somewhere, by the way. And so I was like carrying this coffee, and then I tripped, as you know, the story of my life is just, I don't think I tripped majorly. I actually think I just stumbled, but because the coffee was so near the brim, it just like flew everywhere and like went all over the wall. And now I remember that was one of the reasons why I didn't used to film here, was because of that stain on the wall. And yet I kind of just didn't think about it, and I'm back here again. And so when I did that, it revealed the truth about my wall. But unfortunately, it's too late now, because I set this up and I don't actually know how visible it is at this distance. In fact, I really don't see it, but it's just under these lights. They sort of expose everything, you know, they tell the truth. So there we are, an interesting story or not. And so I do hope you enjoyed this time lapse, and I will see you at the end of the video. I started this painting as I normally do, with a first layer of burnt umber, and I mixed it in with a little bit of medium. And I also used the Gamblin oil paints, and the medium was by Gamblin, so I didn't use any mineral spirits, but of course you can do the first layer in Gamsol if you wish. And I then started to build up the layers using thin paint each time, but adding a little bit more paint each time. And this is like how I like to work on most occasions when creating fantasy work. Of course, if you are an abstract artist, you may want to use much thicker paint and perhaps a different medium like cold wax, for example. But on fantasy paintings, or paintings where you need some kind of detail, any kind of realistic work, then thinner layers tend to work better. If you use a lot of thick paint, it can crack, and that's always a bit of a danger, and it's something that worries a lot of artists, so using thinner layers is better. And I put a little bit more detail on the actual face itself, but I was really pulling out the paintbrush to create this kind of wispy appearance for the cat, so that it had a very dreamlike quality and that it wasn't too rigid or too defined in certain areas. And the eyes I wanted to make super intense, so I did build up the shading and colouring on that and change the colour a little bit. At the beginning I wanted them to be turquoise, and then I progressed, I wanted them to be a little bit more green, so they went through a number of changes. I wanted this cat to look super regal, so to have this rather immense crown and this lovely necklace, and to look a little bit authoritative, but at the same time very kind and very wise. And I just really had this idea of this cat who was really on a quest to make its territory its own. And what I find interesting about cats and animal behaviour is that cats particularly don't like any other cat or any other animal to invade their territory. They're quite particular about this. I think sometimes people will see videos of cats on the internet and they think, oh gosh, cats are really mean because they're fighting with other cats, but actually it's really to do with territory. And if another cat, you know, comes into their area, that's when they really get their anger up. But apart from that, they're actually quite peaceful animals. So I just wanted to have this peaceful cat that only really gets a little bit angry when its territory is invaded. But otherwise, it actually gets along very well with all other cats, and it is very kind to other animals as well, like bunnies and mice and all the other cute little animals. And it's defending its territory from invading reptiles, so reptiles and other sinister creatures, perhaps spiders, I think, because I don't like spiders, maybe giant spiders. And so that's pretty much the concept. And for this foliage area, I was just lightening up the colours so that when the moonlight hits the plants and flowers, you get a nice cast of light on them. And in order to do this, I just put some cooler colours towards the top of the leaves and towards the top of the flowers, and then the bottom colours have slight warmth and darkness to them. I still did add in burnt umber to a lot of the colours on this painting. I do that quite often, even though burnt umber has been used in the base layer. I still like to continue it through, so there's kind of a uniform to the painting, so it doesn't stand entirely on its own, so the colours are not completely stark against each other. In terms of the flowers, I completely made it up. This came straight from my imagination, this type of flowers that I wanted to see in this magical world. And that was it, really. I wasn't specific about what they looked like. I just wanted this sort of wild area that I could imagine
a rather regal, magical looking cat residing in. And I really like this sort of world I created on a whim, really. It wasn't planned out particularly. And I just really enjoyed the way this painting came out. It's been quite some time that I've actually enjoyed painting something without stressing and worrying about each individual area. And I think I just relaxed so much with this because I wasn't expecting it to turn out well, and it just became a happy surprise, I guess. Perhaps to other people, it may not seem like a very interesting or exciting painting, but to me, it was something that I was so happy about when it was finished. And I keep sort of going back to it and thinking I'm, quite pleased with certain areas. Once again, I would have liked to have worked on it a little bit more. I just didn't have the time. In terms of the jewels and all the different detailed areas, I didn't quite get the time to build up the colour on them or the shading either. I would have liked to add some more shading behind the foliage area, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Can't have everything, I guess, during the time frame. But next week, hopefully, I will have a more completed painting and not so much regret. And just a little tip, if you want to paint a moon, you could paint a circle and then shade out the circle into the crescent shape. So I do hope you enjoyed this painting, and here's some whiskers, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new. If I reach 3,000 subscribers, I'm going to do something. What shall I do? Possibly something embarrassing like last time, maybe a song, maybe a dance. Maybe I'd sing something because I did a dance already. Or maybe I'll do both. So we've got to get to 3,000 subscribers. I would be most grateful if you did subscribe. And I post every weekend at some point. And I will try to fix the proper time, because if it does get set to Sunday, then I will fix proper times so that you guys can know when I'm going to upload, rather than me just springing up randomly. And so I hope you have a wonderful week and happy painting, and I will see you soon. Take care, guys.